ЛГБТ Төв хүн бүрт хүний эрх, шударгаас нэр төр. Та яг одоо Mongolian Queer подкастыг сонсож байна.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Mongolia's Queer podcast. And my name is Jack and I'm hosting today's episode. And today we have a very special guest and his name is Nicholas.
Hi.
And he had been doing his intern for Mongolia at the center under our program for a month. And now he's finished and ready to leave the country. So before he leaves, we decided to invite Nick to talk about his experience as a queer young person from the States and his experience in Mongolia and how he was navigating life here, how was his dating life and queer scene. So let's dive into it. And do you want to introduce yourself or do you want me to do the grand introduction?
I can take a stab at it. My name is Nick. I'm a junior in undergrad at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C. I came to Mongolia in late February for a study abroad program called SIT Mongolia. We spent 3 months in the city and the countryside learning about climate change and the environment. And the last month is an independent internship, and I did mine here at the center.
All right, okay. So I think it's very ice-breaking question. Why did you choose the center?
Well, when I was coming here and I knew I had to do an internship, at first I was really thinking about things, again, more environment related and climate change related, because there are so many organizations working on that here in Mongolia. But after studying that for so long, I kind of wanted something that I could more personally relate to. And after meeting people here and seeing how diverse the country is and what cool people are here, I just wanted to learn more about that and truly get involved more than just a superficial level. So I wanted to come work here for a month.
That's great. Thank you so much for reaching out to us. I remember your first email. So yeah, since then it's already been a month.
Yeah.
It's so sad to see you go. We miss you. We'll miss you.
I miss you.
And tell us about what you did with the center.
So with the amazing help of everyone who works here, I was able to work on all 3 programs of work at the center. So for the youth program, I helped out with the Idaho Day. There was an open office day and a movie screening. I helped plan for the upcoming film festival during the Pride and Equality Days in late August by searching for a judge and planning workshop events. And then for the health program, I helped research, brainstorm, and create content for our current Queer Sex Ed campaign.
Okay, so that was the exciting part for me because I was running this queer sex ed. I had this idea a couple of years ago when I was living abroad. So we queer community blamed for an adultery in Mongolia. So since we always labeled as a hypersexual sexual minority, I thought it was really important for us to raise important issues in the sexual relations in the sexual environment. So which was the reason why I started this queer sex ed campaign, and you run into this queer sex ed field. So thank you so much for your help, and tell us more about the content you developed.
As a geography student, we have the idea of a wicked problem, which is a really complex problem, and any attempts to solve the problem only make it worse. And I feel in my experience, queer sex ed might fall into that, because there isn't a lot of resources available on queer sex ed, and then the resources that are created are often very sex negative. They're if you have sex, you're going to get HIV, you're going to get sick, you're going to spread something. So I think it was really important for us to create stuff that was both informative and accurate, but also sex positive. So we were able to make a few great contents. Some were more abstract and more about ideas, like our one on masturbation, on just kind of canceling out the stereotypes and harmful societal expectations around masturbation. And others were more practical. For example, the one on PrEP and how to get on PrEP here in UB, and what resources are available for people who are looking to get on PrEP.
Yeah, like speaking of prep, like were you excited or like surprised to know that like we have actually access to prep?
I was so surprised, happily surprised to find that here. As someone who was on prep in America, if you're not on insurance, which a good amount of people are, more than you think, a month of prep can cost you like $2,000 just out of your pocket. So to know that it's available here for free is really amazing and inspiring, and upsetting to know that in other places that's not the case. But I'm glad at least here that it can be available for those who need it.
Yeah, like $2,000. That sounds a lot. Like in here, like we're like accessing prep for free, thanks to the other organization that focuses on specifically HIV services. They're doing amazing jobs, and we have lots of misconceptions and what we call it, like negative stereotypes about prep. Like, have you ever encountered with someone who talks negatively about prep?
Yeah, I think in general, when it comes to people who don't want to use condoms or don't want to use any protection or don't want to use PrEP, I feel like that's something we've all both experienced in other people, and I think it's something that we've all experienced in ourselves that maybe we don't really want to talk about as much. And I think that, again, that goes back to the lack of resources on queer sex ed, where if we're being told that having sex at all is a threat and it's a risk, we're going to act risky in response to that. We're going to not care. We're going to lose that sex positive idea that you can engage in safe activity and enjoy it at the same time. So I think that it's really important to get this content and information out there, to just normalize things and say it's not a huge deal, and hopefully that worked with our campaign.
Yeah, I think it was like a phenomenal campaign for me, because I've seen a lot of engagement from the community, particularly youth like crowd. And just to add a little more information on this queer sex ed, we've done like a bunch of different, like we explored different like concepts, such as like you mentioned sex positivity. That's a fundamental to talk about sex. Like if you talk and like understood sex in a very positive way, you're gonna learn more about how to protect, how to like, interact with people. And based on that, we had a consent. We talked a lot about consent and body positivity. So speaking of body positivity, I want to like know more about your personal experience as a young white gay guy living in Mongolia.
Yeah.
So how's your dating life in general?
Should I talk about body positivity or dating?
Both. So just combine.
But one thing that shocked me is that I remember I flew here. It was a 2-day long flight. I flew from Boston to Turkey and Turkey to UV, and I got here at like 7 a.m, and I was so tired. And I got off the plane and I met my teacher for the first time, and she's like, "What's wrong with your eye?" And I was just like, "Okay, like thank you, I guess. Like nice to meet you." I definitely noticed that here, at least in the city, there definitely is a lot of emphasis on looks and being clean or dirty. Like, oh, don't sit on that bench, it's dirty. Don't lean up against that pole, you're gonna get dirty. Oh, your jacket's dirty. Whereas at home, I feel like personally that's something I don't really care about, and maybe that's just me. That's something that I've noticed here, with people that I've gone out with and people that I've met. So I'm studying abroad here, and there's only 4 students on my program, including me. There's only 4 Americans. Sorry about that. And it was really hard when I first came here to make friends and to meet people. So I turned to online dating as a solution for that.
A popular one. The yellow mask one.
That was one of them. That was one of them.
Plenty others.
Plenty others, yeah. And I've definitely met people, and it's been really good. And I've got to meet a lot of good friends that way. I don't know what it would have been like if I came here with like 20 other Americans, but I'm really glad with the people I've met, and the kind of community that I built. Not only when I first came here, but also here at the center.
Great. Thank you. And another next question is like people usually tend to people want to know how safe it is to be as a gay person in Mongolia. So I want to like know about your experience and perception around like safety. How safe did you feel while living here as a like gay person and gay youth? I'm pretty sure like young people are very active, right?
Yeah.
5 times a week, maybe like 8 times a week.
Well, I think when this question, it's really important to recognize that I am a white American, and the responses and expectations that I get from Mongolians might be different from a Mongolian person. So even if someone doesn't agree with me holding hands with like another man on the street, the blame doesn't need to be on me. It can be on America, it can be on the West or whatever. They don't need to yell at me. They can just think, oh, you know, that's the problem with America and other parts of the world. So I think that I've really benefited from that, in that I have felt very safe, and I've really only been welcomed with warmth from people both queer and not. But I've met a lot of people here who, unfortunately, that's not the situation. And even though I've gone out with them, they've said that they're not out, and they'd rather that I not tell anyone that I met them, or that they hope that they didn't see anyone they knew on the street. So I have been faced with that reality while I've been there, while I've been here.
So, since you have experience of a whole month with us, like as part of the queer movement, so what do you think about Mongolian queer movement? Maybe you can just like compare it with what you have back in the States.
I think that the center is truly doing amazing work, and it's really just.
Well, thank you.
I think in general, as we've said, we've likened maybe Mongolia to America a couple of decades ago, New York in the 70s. It's edgy, it's rough, it's raw, it's real, but like people are getting shit done, and like they're doing what they need to do to make the change they want to see, and to make their country better for themselves and for their community. Whereas I feel like maybe in America, people have lost sight of that, and they've taken for granted all the privilege they have as Americans, and I definitely have too. I definitely become very comfortable in America, and I've forgotten to, and I don't have to worry about a lot of things. But I've been glad to see that here. They're definitely, and again, it's a big country, and there's a lot of people, even though there's not a lot of people. So people have different opinions, and they engage differently in the movement. But I think overall, it's going in a really good direction, and everything I've seen has been really inspiring to me personally, and I can't wait to take this energy back to America.
Thank you so much for your very humble, very polite answer, like acknowledging all the privileges. So, another question. So, have you gone to a gay party here?
I have.
Was I there?
If I can remember correctly, you were there.
Okay, so that's the party I'm thinking.
I did attend the, was it Youth for Health?
Oh yeah, Youth for Health.
Party at Lava, Idaho Party at Lava, 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. And I've also been to a few gay and, I guess, ally bars here. And that was a lot of fun, I gotta say. I really enjoyed that. And I feel like it's really interesting to see, even though it wasn't like a gay club, like just the space becoming completely queer for one night, and queer people like making the space for themselves, even though they don't even have like a permanent space. But yeah, it was fun as fuck, and I had a really good time.
Agreed. It was really funny. I didn't have that much fun. Like, I don't know how long. So, yeah, like, as long as you feel safe and connected and loved here, I'm so happy. And, like, it's a Pride month. Today is the 2nd of June. Like, today, like, we're recording this episode on this day, and it's the 2nd day of Pride in the States. But, like, it's not only a state, it started from the States, but like all over the world, many different countries celebrate this day. So tell me about your experience with Pride.
Well, I also want to hear about your experience with Pride, because it seems like in different parts of the world, Pride is very differently viewed. In America, Pride is also a time to party and a time to have fun and go out with your friends. But definitely, Pride also gets a lot of criticism in America as a time when companies can just cash in on gay people, and it's impossible to not see this now, just changing the logos and people getting upset about that. And it can be confusing, and it can be just, you can feel drowned in all of this. Do I feel pride? Do I feel happy? Or do I feel upset? Do I feel angry? And you'll be constantly reminded that pride started as a riot, and there's all these narratives surrounding it. So coming here, where pride is a lot less institutionalized and commercialized, I've been trying to observe and pick up on some important values. But again, I'm not from here. I don't know the feelings surrounding that and the trade-off you get between visibility and maybe like a loss in morality or a loss in like the true values of why pride started. So I don't know, do you have any thoughts on that I can respond to?
I have lots of thoughts on pride. So if I start talking, I don't think we're gonna need enough time, so I can move on. So yeah, the way I agree with you. And the Mongolian pride is so different. Yeah. It's not institutionalized yet. But like this rainbow capitalism, it's very interesting. Yeah. But like in here, no one wants to be part of pride. So we kind of like low-key wanting this to be happening here. That's why we move forward. So it's like very different perspective for sure. And I remember we were talking about like masculinity stuff, but I want to like ask like more into that direction. So like about masculinity. So Mongolia is very patriarchal and very masculine society. Men should be like valued only if they have that masculine traits. But now apparently it's shifting in terms of fashion, in terms of like music, like a lot of influences from Western world and from like South Korea. Yeah. So like tell me about your observation on like Mongolian masculinity and also like compare it with American masculinity.
Yeah, I think that masculinity is really interesting, especially here, because you go to the countryside and it's like what you're saying, and it's all about like physicality and like aggression and being able to handle, the hard life. But like you were saying, here in the city, we're seeing some things change and we're seeing more outside influence. So when I first came here, I was really taken aback by just men in general. Like walking down the street, seeing men with shaved heads or dyed hair or earrings or like fancy tattoos or like good fashion. Like if I were to see any of that in America, I'm like, okay, like they're gay. Like no question about it. It's obvious. But here it's like, oh my God, it's like confusing and disorienting, and I'm like, wait, what?
I just want to keep the sense of knowing which one.
I know, like my gaydar is thrown all the way off, and there's some people I meet, and I can't fathom the idea that with how they look, they're not gay. And like, obviously, you shouldn't judge people on how they look, but like at the same time, it's like that's how we function in society. Right. So that's really interesting to see, and I think maybe that's because in America, if someone were to dress like that, they would be afraid, like a very masculine man, they would be afraid that they would be perceived as gay, whereas here people might not like even consider that at all. Yeah. But definitely in America, I think masculinity is more at risk, and people are more insecure about it, and they want to prove it more. Whereas here, when men, it's already patriarchal, that's more assumed. But it's interesting to see the direction it's going in. But no matter what your sexuality is, I'm all for men getting ear piercings and dyeing their hair and looking good for me as I walk down the street.
Yes, always nice. Yeah, but like hearing your observation made me feel good about myself. Thank you. I forgot my next question.
But as you, like in America, you could be definitely perceived as masculine. I think.
I had experience of like being perceived as masculine, but not in America, in Korea. Yep. So that's another story. And so like you said, you had like even though it was a short period of time, time. You took you had so much memory. You like inspired by many things, and you said you can't wait to bring all that energy. So if you want to highlight two things that you want to bring back and keep it with you to inspire your work in the future, what would it be?
Interesting. I think one would just be like the energy of like going and like getting stuff done, like no matter what it is, like just from what I've seen and like the youth in general here. You're an artist, you find somewhere to go and like display your art. You like rent a gallery space for an evening, invite all your friends, and you have like your friend's band play, and you just you make the space for yourself. Or if you're the center, you have these events and you fill this tiny room with a bunch of queer youth, and you are all laughing in a movie and enjoying each other's company. Even at like a moment's notice after taking a trip around the world, you do something and you get it done. I feel like in America, people are so preoccupied with, oh, well, we have to be correct about that, or oh, we need time to do this, or oh, that's too much money, or we need this permission. Not that bureaucracy doesn't exist here, because obviously that's an issue, but people find ways to fight through that. In my experience, that's what I've noticed from the American perspective.
Yeah, like man, I don't want to be really like anyway. Like you sound like you had like really like cool people to hang out with. You know, like I'm happy for you. Like it.
Even if like bureaucracy is a huge issue here, from what I've observed, coming from where I'm from, I've been surprised by how much people can deal with that and work with it, even if that's the reality. Maybe people I know in America have just given up already and just decided, oh, even though I want to be creative, I'm just going to work in a coffee shop until I die, whatever. And not that people don't do that here, but...
Yeah, but like the gaps between this developing world and developed world is like increasing, you know? And also we are the people, we are the men and women and people and individual in our own time, so our experiences are really different. So I also when I was really young, I used to just blame other people, right? You know, the minority wise, we just blame majority for all these challenges we've been facing, and also the race policy, the racial equality, the way people have been just judged a lot. So yeah, like I'm not saying, you know, white superiority, like racism doesn't exist, but like, you know, I became much more kinder as I grew older and started trying to just listen and have empathy towards others. That includes race. Anyway, I think we're about to end our conversation by now. So do you have any other things that you want to say to Mongolian crowds, your friends? I'm pretty sure your friends will watch this, you know, like,
well,
some of your dates might watch it, and I'm not like saying you give advice to them, but like just, you know, you already acknowledge that you're from a very different society that has a lot of access compared to the youth that are living here. So if you had like one or two things that you want to just maybe suggest.
Oh God,
like
suggest?
To the youth, not all the people, to young people.
Dear young people, let's see. I would say that, first of all, thank you to everyone who's welcomed me here in this country for the past couple months. I had a damn good time. I hope that everyone continues to do so. And if this is your life, that's a pretty good life, because it's been a lot of fun. Also, my first suggestion would be to follow the LGBT Center and engage in all their wonderful work, because they truly are doing amazing things.
Thank you.
And yeah, for the youth, I think that both on an interpersonal level, person to person, and on like a global level, country to country, there's just always a lot of expectations and feelings of guilt and shame, and feelings like you're not good enough, whether it's you fuck up at work, or just because you're gay, or just because you live in a certain part of the world. But we're all humans, and what it means to be human is to make mistakes and to fuck up and learn from them. So just to try to love yourself, and I think that feeling of love yourself and being positive about yourself begins with being positive towards other people and being forgiving towards them and their mistakes. So all around acceptance, positivity, love the people you hate.
Yeah, that's true. Like, we can argue, but we still can love each other unless there's, I forgot the rest.
You're willingly a jerk.
Right. Yes. Thank you so much. And let's just finish this episode with one very popular phrase. Like, you're not a Drag Race fan, right? So
not yet.
You might not know it, but I'm such a big fan. So it's a RuPaul's very popular phrase. If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen here?
Amen.
Let the music.